Hello, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Doing well. Give me a overview of what Life Ally is and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Catherine Curry, and I started a company called Life Ally where it helps people get their overwhelm under control. So if you are feeling like you are drowning and you don't know where to start, or even what to organize, or even what you need to make your life a little easier, that's where we come in. We have systems where we can help you get your life in order and you can feel less overwhelmed and more in control.
I know that one of the areas that people can let the overwhelm sneak up is keeping our house in order and keeping it clean. And I know that having a well-maintained home can support mental clarity and emotional well-being. How and why is it so important that we reset our homes?
Your home is your sanctuary. When you walk into your home, you want it you want it to be like a warm hug. At least that is the way I feel. When I walk into my home, I want it to smell a certain way, I want it to look a certain way. And when I go home, that's my little piece of heaven where I can go away from all the stuff that is just weighing me down in the outside world and I feel safe. And so when that space is just cluttered and it's not working for you, then it becomes more it drains you just as much as the outside world does. And so the goal is to make that inside your home just a peaceful sanctuary.
I know that sometimes when people feel overwhelmed by clutter and mess and dirt, sometimes they just do nothing because they feel stuck. So, where should we start?
So there's a couple ways to start. One way is if you feel comfortable with hiring an organizational person, or organizational company to come in and help you organize a specific space. I know I do that locally here as well. I live in Nashville, and so I do go into people's homes and help organize and declutter. But be really careful with organizational companies. Spend a lot of time figuring out who's going to be right for you because a lot of times they will organize a space based on aesthetics rather than function. And it doesn't work for you. So you'll walk into your, this perfectly organized space, which may be absolutely gorgeous, but it doesn't work for you because maybe they put something front and center that they thought that you would want in your pantry, but really it's something you use once every 6 months. So if you do get an organizational company, make sure that you work with them during that process and make sure that your needs are very clear. So then, because they will just do what they want, which is, that's what you pay them to do, but it needs to work for you. So that's one thing. If you really want to kind of jumpstart it and just tackle a house, spend a little money up front and they will do a great job. Uh, the other thing I say is just do one little piece at a time. So I think what happens is we get so overwhelmed, we don't know where to start. And also, too, we see these organizing shows and they pull everything out of a space and then they start going through it. That's not practical for 99.9% of individuals. And what does that do? That like immediately goes to overwhelm because everything's out. So what I always do with my clients is I just work on one little section at a time. Just pull out a box. Just work on a little piece of a shelf. Let's just work on one drawer. And if you just look at it as a one little piece at a time, then you can do one a week or one a day or whatever feels right for you. But don't follow the organization shows that do that because it will be worse than when it started, I promise.
That is such a good piece of advice because I'm in the process of moving right now, and we have boxes stacked to the ceiling because we have to get
Uh-huh.
everything packed. So it's just a total overwhelm mess. But I have noticed that taking like bite-sized chunks makes it much less stressful than thinking like, oh, I have to get everything packed today. If I can just say like, oh, I'm going to pack up this part of the closet, or I'm going to pack these two bags or these two boxes. Um, it's much easier, and that's very similar to like organize this part of the closet or organize this drawer, versus pulling everything out. As I'm pulling
Yeah.
everything out to pack it up, I'm realizing how much I need to declutter, because
Yeah.
there's just
Baby steps, baby steps.
baby steps. Indeed. Indeed. Well, if you had to make three recommendations that people clean or reset, which three things do you think make the biggest difference?
I would say your bathroom. Spend a lot of time there, and that is a big collection zone. I know every time I've gone into people's houses, I don't know how many half shampoo bottles I've counted because I get it, you get so excited once you buy your new shampoo. You don't want to finish your old shampoo. But just if you're not going to finish it, just throw it out or take it if you've got dogs or, animals that you're bathing. Take the rest of that shampoo and put it somewhere else for your dogs. So I would say bathroom is number one. Number two would be your kitchen, specifically pantry. Things just get shoved in there, and you don't know what you have. And then, the next thing you have five of your taco seasonings, and you just don't need that. So I think a pantry would be my second, and then garage. That is a collection zone. Garages are huge. Whenever you don't really want to get rid of it, but you think you probably should, it like goes to the garage graveyard. And so I would say those would be my top three.
What are things that most people forget to clean and maintain that they absolutely should be cleaning and maintaining?
That's a good question. I think the refrigerator is probably one of them. I'm gonna go back to pantry. People just there's expiration dates on things for a reason. Use them. And I think what happens is things just get stuffed in the back and stuffed in the back, and then you get new groceries in, and then all the old kind of gets pushed in the back. And so I think when you go to the grocery store or have your groceries delivered, you need to do a quick reset of your refrigerator before you put things back in. So just pull stuff out. If it's expired, if it's old, just take it out, wipe down the shelves. Nothing it kills me, the grimy shelves. Just wipe them down. And that is, I think, one of the biggest pieces of the refrigerator. And then doing the same thing with the pantry, because again, things, especially with kids, they just get shoved back, and the containers are half opened. And then next thing you know, you've got stale chips in the back, which mice just love to eat.
Uh, that is so true. The half open cereal box and half eaten bag of chips or half box of pasta that didn't get used. It gets
Yeah.
pushed to the back. The new stuff gets set in the front, and then you use the
Mhm.
new stuff and forget that the old stuff is even in there. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I'll say I use glass jars for everything. And so I decant stuff. And even though it takes what, 2 seconds extra to open up the bag and throw it into a glass jar. But I do that because it does save money in the long run. Because my kids, you got to spin the thing back on. They're not going to leave the jar lid open. They will leave a chip bag open and those chips will go bad, but they actually close the jars. And so I highly recommend if you've got an extra few minutes, you will save so much money in the long run by decanting all your stuff.
Great recommendation. Is there a brand that you really like?
I love Le Parfait. They're French, and so the jars that they use were made for canning, and there's all different sizes, and you can have like the flip tops, or you can have this, the spin-off tops. But I recommend those because they're so strong that I can drop them on my floor and they do not break. So even though they're glass, I don't love plastic, and so I try to stay away from plastic as much as I can. So the glass jars, and they're so strong they don't break. I love them.
Great recommendation. I'm gonna have to look into that. I
I
haven't done
know.
it. So now you've given me a to do for my new house.
And they're beautiful. They're aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, and then that sort of hits on what you were saying before. Sometimes we just focus on form instead of function, but that's a piece that is form and function. So that's great to find those types of things. What's one way that people could build a simple system or a rhythm to maintain the house reset? Because I think most of the time life gets busy, and when we feel overwhelmed, we're less likely to tidy, clean, pay attention to the pantry and the fridge because everything else feels more important. So,
Mhm.
what's some recommendation that you can give around building that system to keep up with the cleaning in our house?
I think creating that habit, and habits take a while. So if you've ever read Atomic Habits by James Clear, habit stacking is so having a habit that's already in place and then stacking another habit on top of that. So, for example, like I do not, well, I think I can vouch for everyone. No one likes to do laundry ever. And so what I got into the habit of, and so I have my laundry, my washer and dryer at the top of my stairs. And so I have to walk past there, the washer and dryer, to go down the stairs in the morning. And so what I've started doing is micro loads. So basically a load at night and then, and every day, every morning. And so there'll be a load in the dryer. And before I walk down those stairs, I will fold those clothes. It takes me 5 minutes. Like it's really doesn't take a lot of time. And so it's little things that like that, and everyone's different. So, there's different things that people need to do versus, what I need to do. But if you can have that habit that you already have in place and then stack a habit on top of that, that takes less than 5 minutes, then you've created an amazing habit that you can keep up.
Tell us more about that. How are you doing that? What are you collecting all the laundry right before everybody, like everyone goes to bed, you go and collect all the laundry and start your load, or how does it work in your house?
So the children, I have two kids, 15 and 10, they actually do put their clothes in front of the washing machine. That's kind of one of my, I'm like, throw all your dirty clothes in front of the washing machine. And so then at night, I throw, one into the dryer and then that one into the washer. And so then the dryer is ready for the next day. But yeah, so the micro loads, what happens is it doesn't pile up. And so what was happening for me was I was allowing it to pile up, and then it would take me 30, 40 minutes to fold laundry. And I would have to do it on Sundays or Saturdays or the weekends. And I realized like this is not the way that I want to spend my weekends. I do not want to spend my weekends folding clothes. So I figured if I could reduce the amount of the load and just do these short, small little loads every single day. And so I'll fold them and then we have our little sections where I put it and then I do move it over to my kids' room and then they put their clothes away. But it reduced the amount of time to, like I said, less than 5 minutes. And it's been a game changer for me.
That you've given me so many ideas, and I think I always joke that I am tackling like Mount Saint Laundry because um,
Mhm.
I wait so long to do it because, like you said, nobody likes doing laundry. I really hate doing laundry. It's not the process of doing the laundry, but the process of folding it and putting it away just sucks my soul. But I think that if I was doing a small load every day, then it becomes a much more accomplishable task versus something that's going to take me all day, which it never takes all day. It always takes an hour, but it feels like it takes all day. Um,
Mhm.
and if we can narrow that down to a 5-minute task, I'm much more likely to do that than I am to stand by my basket of laundry and put clothes away
Oh,
forever.
totally. And there's a book, and I cannot remember the name of it, but I think it's like make your bed or it's something. It was made by it was a army general or
Okay.
something like that, and it was talking about how accomplishing tasks leads to accomplishing more tasks, and so
Yes.
you start by just making your bed, and so the laundry folding is that task for me.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Definitely. All right. So now let's turn to Grace. So talk to me, the person that is always feeling behind by keeping their space tidy, or feel like I should be much further along in getting my house kept than it actually is. How can you help us shift our mindset, and what should we keep in our heads as we're working towards this goal of keeping our house reset or resetting our house when we need to?
Yeah, so I think focusing on progress, not perfection, and realizing that this takes time. It takes time to develop these systems or not just and then to implement them and to put them into place. And like I said, that habit forming, it takes what did they say, at least 21 days to form a habit and to get it where it's easy and it's just a repeatable thing. So think about, I would say give yourself over a month of implementing and don't do more than like one or two because if you try to do more than that, it's not going to work. So think about this over the course of a year and say, all right, I'm going to implement one or two new habits every month that can help me get towards my goal. And it's kind of like, if you want to declutter a home, instead of doing a massive amount of stuff at one time, take away one item, a week or one item, whatever you want to do. Let's just say one item a week. And that year, you've removed 52 items from your home. And that makes a big difference. And so it's doing those just small, little, manageable steps that will create big results. But yeah, give yourself grace, take an entire year to really transform and to create those habits. And by 2027, you'll be like a different person.
You've given me so much to think about and so much to implement. And as always, I'm so grateful. If someone wants to learn more about how Life Ally can help, how should they get in contact with you?
So our website, lifeally.io, there is a form on the website that you can just fill out and submit, and we will respond to you, and we'd love to help.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.